Tonight on West Dakota Fox News at 9, disturbing new video of a body cam beatdown. It all started over jaywalking. Tonight, the charges those officers now face. Plus, it could be the end of the line for a BNSF bridge connecting Bismarck and Mandan. But first, one person is dead after bullets fly at the YouTube headquarters south of San Francisco.
This is West Dakota Fox News at 9 with Molly Martinez and meteorologist Henry Blakes. Your first news of the night starts right now on West Dakota Fox News at 9.
Good evening, I'm Molly Martinez. At least 3 people are wounded and a suspected shooter is dead after shots rang out at the YouTube headquarters earlier today. Reporter Melissa Rainey has the story.
We have one subject who's deceased inside the building with a self-inflicted wound that at this time we believe to be the shooter.
Police say a female suspect is dead after opening fire at the YouTube headquarters in Northern California Tuesday.
San Bruno Police Department received numerous 911 calls regarding gunshots at the YouTube campus. Upon arrival, officers encountered numerous employees fleeing from the building. It was very chaotic, as you can imagine.
Some employees on the massive campus were enjoying their lunch break when shots first rang out.
It was just like 2-3 shots. And then like within 30 seconds after that, or 40 seconds after that, then I seen the girl running out. And then she was shot in the leg.
Other YouTube employees in different buildings heard the chaos through technology.
I actually was on a video conference with someone who was in the building when it happened, and we were all suddenly aware of a lot of sort of noises of sounds of people running outside of the room where she was, and people screaming.
News chopper aerials focused on a small outdoor eating area where evidence markers dotted the ground. Law enforcement searched each employee one by one as they came out of the building with their hands up. They believe the shooter acted alone. 1,700 people work at the YouTube campus, 30 minutes south of San Francisco. I'm Melissa Rainey reporting.
Time now is 9:02. Let's throw it over to Henry for our first check on weather. Well, we're 2 days away from the Republican convention in Grand Forks, but a Senate showdown is already underway. And chances are you've already seen some attack ads. Today, both candidates said it's going to be a hard-fought race, but that they hope their voting records will speak for themselves.
The campaign and the election can be about the voting records and the aspirations of the two candidates and the goals and the vision that we cast.
Well, I think it's about making sure that you're doing everything that you can to explain the decisions that you've made, but also what your priorities are.
We're going to be covering all aspects of this race later this week, including spending, endorsements, and the new frontier of campaigning on social media. We hope you stay with us, your election leader. We're also learning today the keynote speaker at the GOP convention will be Interior Secretary and former Montana Representative Ryan Zinke. I'll be at the convention all weekend and have a one-on-one interview with Zinke. I'll be asking him about energy in our state and if our parks are in danger of rollbacks. Reporter Andrew Horn and Marcy Bollinger will be joining me for the team coverage. You can watch all the action here on West Dakota and our sister station KFYR News. Already more than 1,500 delegates have registered to attend, and after this weekend we'll know the party's choice for the House. You can follow us all week on air and on social media. Also in state news, the superintendent of the Richland 44 school district, where 5 boys were charged with crimes including hazing and sexual assault, he says he'll resign at the end of the school year. Tim Godfrey's attorney says although Godfrey was cleared of wrongdoing, he says he wants to, quote, extricate himself from a dysfunctional environment and pursue other professional opportunities. He's been on paid leave since March 1st. A 40-year-old man was hospitalized yesterday after he says a group of people attacked him in his sleep at Motel 6. The Bismarck Police Department says the man woke up to punches and a stab to his throat. Officers say the man was taken to the hospital by ambulance where he was treated for his injuries. Detectives were called to process the scene and found blood on the floor and sheets. No arrests have been made. A Belcourt man accused of raping a woman at gunpoint 2 years ago has pleaded not guilty. 20-year-old Dimitri Gourneau faces charges of gross sexual imposition. The woman was 19 years old at the time. Gourneau is being held in Minot. Bismarck police say an officer responding to a report of a burglary in progress crashed into another car at the intersection of 26th and Main yesterday afternoon. Fortunately, no one was hurt. The officer and the other driver were both given a warning. Speaking of Bismarck police, last year they conducted a survey asking citizens about interactions with officers, performance, and safety. Today, we're seeing what people had to say. Daniela Hurtado has the story.
Feedback from the community helps police departments stay at the top of their game.
We want to look at areas that the community thinks we need to potentially improve upon, also identify what we're doing really good at in their perception.
Donlan says they've had an overall increase from the last time the survey was put out. Some say the department needs to make shifts in some areas.
They don't seem like they're helpful to the homeless people. They just want to lock you up and put you in jail.
Many other people I spoke to say they love the department and the work they do.
I'm glad that I live and work in a community where vast majority of people trust and appreciate their officers.
He says the power shifts allow for more officers to have presence in the community.
Attorney General Wayne Stenehjem has appointed Douglas Nelson of Fargo as the new state fire marshal, which took effect on March 19th. Nelson has served with the Fargo Department since 2005. The fire marshal's office handles arson investigations and is responsible for fire safety inspections of schools, daycare facilities, restaurants, and public buildings. Well, the future of the BNSF bridge that connects Bismarck and Mandan is still up in the air. But a group called Friends of the Rail Bridge is trying to make sure that it's not torn down. They're working with BNSF to keep the old bridge as a pedestrian trail instead of tearing it down if a new one's built. But about an hour ago, they held a public meeting to work out organizational details in case they need to take over ownership. BNSF is still waiting on the Coast Guard to decide what's the best course of action for the bridge. A North Dakota team of government and private sector workers won a multi-state hack fest aimed at solving an IT problem. Microsoft sponsored the event, which also included teams from Texas, Minnesota, and Indiana, and North Dakota's team won with their community dashboard. Employees from 3 state agencies and Nexus Innovation made up the team.
The atmosphere around the Hack Fest gave us the chance to really put that to the test and to show that we can work as one.
The state's first place finish gives them 2 days with Microsoft specialists who will continue working on the dashboard. Wildfire season has started in southern Colorado. Cameras caught a fire-nado that was whipped up by high winds fueling a brush fire in Meridian. Firefighters were able to keep nearby structures safe from the flames. About 280 acres have burned so far. 2 people are dead after a plane collision at an Indiana airport Monday. You can see the charred grass from the wreck next to the runway. Authorities say the Cessna was attempting to take off when it struck the tail of the other jet, which had just landed. The Cessna was carrying 2 people and the other jet had 5 passengers. The FAA says an investigation is ongoing. Newly released body cam footage out of Asheville, North Carolina shows a group of officers violently beating a man. His crime, jaywalking. Now, those officers are facing charges including assault by strangulation and assault inflicting serious injury. If convicted, those officers could face up to 4 years behind bars. In a statement of the Asheville police, Asheville called the footage, quote, disturbing and difficult to watch. Well, the starting pistol for the Boston Marathon is still a couple of weeks away, but safety plans are already in place. The FBI, Boston Police, and Massachusetts State Police will be on hand come race day. Security has tightened since the 2013 bombing near the race's finish line. Authorities now use surveillance drones, bomb-sniffing dogs to detect radiological bombs. The 122nd marathon takes place on April 16th. Today marked the second day of teacher protests at the Oklahoma State Capitol. Thousands gathered to demand a $10,000 raise for teachers and a $200 million for classrooms. Oklahoma teachers are currently the lowest paid in the nation, averaging $45,000 a year. Also in court today marked day 2 of the jury selection for the sexual assault retrial of comedian Bill Cosby. Attorneys selected 2 jurors today, bringing the total to 3. Cosby is charged with drugging and molesting a former Temple University athletics administrator. in his home in 2004. The original case ended in mistrial back in June after the jury deadlocked. Opening statements are expected to begin April 9th. The trial is expected to last a month. In business news, Stella Artois is issuing a voluntary recall. It affects some 11.2-ounce bottles. The company says its third-party bottling plants were using equipment that caused the glass to break off and fall into the bottle. Stella Artois says recall affects less than 1% of the bottles sold annually in North America. On the tech front, your Google and Amazon devices could soon be spying on your every move. A new report suggests both companies are filing patents that some see as eavesdropping. It aims to use the devices like Google Home or Amazon's Alexa to track audio and visual signals. They would have the ability to detect breathing rate, crying, and even a user's history of coughing and sneezing. Data collected by these devices would then be aggregated for future ad targeting and product recommendations. Well, General Motors is hitting the brakes on the longtime practice of reporting monthly auto sales. The car maker says a 30-day period doesn't provide adequate pictures of its business. Industry watchers say the move will likely shake up the industry's efforts to give analysis. Economists and investors on board are looking at the business consumer behavior. The shares of the company are down 11% so far this year. Well, this is music to investors' ears. Today, Spotify went public. But instead of selling new shares, the music streaming company opted for a direct listing. That means existing investors can list offerings at any time. There are currently 71 million Spotify subscribers worldwide, but the company hopes to raise that figure to 96 million by the end of the year. And the city of Philadelphia spent all last night partying after Villanova clinched its second national championship in 3 years. You can see students lighting multiple fires near campus. The Wildcats beat Michigan 79-62 to claim the title in San Antonio. Around these parts, heavy snow and high winds moved through South Dakota today. Blowing snow made for low visibility and poor road conditions early this morning and brought on school closings for many students across southeastern South Dakota. Snow continued to fall throughout the day, with more in this forecast as soon as Thursday. More on that now. Let's send it over to meteorologist Henry Blakes. Welcome back. This afternoon, President Trump tweeted, quote, "We will protect our southern border." That's after ripping into immigration judges, NAFTA, Mexico, and crime. Fox News correspondent Caroline Shively breaks it down for us from Washington.
Until we can have a wall and proper security, we're going to be guarding our border with the military. That's a big step. We really haven't done that before.
That comment by the president sent the Pentagon scrambling. While National Guard troops have been used at the border, using active duty troops on U.S. soil could raise legal questions. But that's just one of the president's immigration comments today at two different events.
Mexico has very strong immigration laws, as we should have. We should have those laws. We don't have. We have immigration laws that are laughed at by everybody.
President Trump also threatening to use NAFTA against Mexico to further secure the border.
It has been a horrible, horrible, embarrassing deal for the United States. This should have been terminated or renegotiated many years ago.
Meanwhile, New York announced it would lead 18 states and 6 cities in a lawsuit to block the Trump administration from asking about citizenship information on the 2020 census. That's in addition to California, which has a separate suit.
The prospect of someone saying, I am from the Trump administration, knocking on your door to ask a question about citizenship would understandably provoke real fear.
As Caroline just mentioned, 17 states, including the District of Columbia, are filing a lawsuit against the Trump administration. They say the immigration status question is unconstitutional, adding that the question will, quote, fatally undermine the accuracy of the population count. The administration has yet to respond. A Texas student gets a full ride to 20 different colleges. Cameras were rolling as he got another acceptance letter, this time to Stanford. The teen also accepted to several Ivy League schools, including Harvard, Yale, and Princeton. Henry, that's pretty impressive. I barely got accepted into driver's ed.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. Congratulations to him.
Thank you.
Yes, no problem. Hey, we're talking about, we're getting a little bit of a warm-up for tomorrow. Otherwise, yeah, cold weather through next week.
All right, we will not accept this weather. See you tomorrow.